Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the My Little Unicorn event in which the Silver Maiden is added to the game. We're going to be going over two teams with her. She's used primarily as a frontline tank, so let's go and actually see her. Before we do though, keep in mind that she does give RP and Spirit traitstones. These are used for a good variety of troops. The main and most notable one, I would say, is buying 8 of her, which is 3,200 glory. So you'd have the 16 arcane Spirit traitstones that you would need for a Queen Mav. That's the best blue-purple currently in the entire game as far as anything that uses it. You could also use it for a Fairish Ra if you happen to have that mythic. But let's get into the Silver Maiden and her stats. She is an extremely tanky troop. She cleanses and barriers herself, both of which, of course, are very defensive. She then destroys a row, meaning you get all the mana for it, plus you get a little bit of board control, and then gains a lot of armor and life, and that's boosted even more by the amount of yellows destroyed by an additional 1 each. And, of course, that would every single one destroyed would give an additional 2 to the armor and to the life, and she is very tanky. First troop in the game to have holy armor, which is basically just stone skin, it's in between basically of armored and stone skin, just at that 40%. A little bit weird to calculate on some of the numbers. Still not getting used to that, but she is pretty tanky with it. She has the leadership, so you'll actually be able to use her in first slot. She has an ability to synergize very well with it since she's extremely tanky, and she'll act primarily as any team that is extremely lacky tankiness. She would be particularly good if you don't happen to have something like a Gorgoltha or a fully traded Honor, as she can act as a tank substitute for those two troops, even without any of her traits. You don't even really need her traits to make her extremely tanky, because her ability alone is all the tankiness you will really need from her. As you can see down on the stats there, she is, of course, a knight, so she does have a pretty high armor, but unfortunately has a pretty low HP because of that. But that is the Maiden. Let's go now into some teams with her. Of course, we will be going over all of these teams right here, both of them, both of which will be utilizing her as a first slot tank, assuming that she's fully traded, though, of course, even without the fully traded, she'll essentially do the same thing, just with slightly less tank ability. So let's go right into that then and go into them. Go over to PvP, just go to whatever the 3 trophy is. A lot of glacial peaks this week. And let's start with the wall of tanks. This is my personal favorite with it so far. Of course, you can put her in pretty much any team. You will be getting 2 times traitstones for her from her this week because of the event that is currently going on. You'll definitely want to at least get 1 of them, so you can get the that bonus this week for just using her. And she is one of those kind of troops that you may not use too much after this week. It really depends if you still need a tank or not, because one drawback that she has is everything she does is purely for the purpose of tanking. She doesn't really have any kind of damage or anything like that. So that is one little bit of a disadvantage that she has. One advantage, though, is if we can actually get her mana, we can swipe that and still maintain our turn. So we might be able to do that. That'd be a pretty nice move. And it looks like it will not interfere with it, so perfect. We'll be able to swipe that right out, get our extra turn. There we go. Sweet. Okay, so we'll go and we'll let it take the skull. Not really too worried about that. We'll probably just go for a Valkyrie on alignment if we can get it, and we do. We'll do that right there. Unfortunately, we did get frozen from that skull, but we get all of our troops up. That's the whole point of putting a Valkyrie in this team. We use 3 troops that use blue, and then we just use a Valkyrie to tear it all down. And of course, if you don't have Behemoth or the Kristarnax, you can replace them out for any troop of the same color, like Druid and Brown Blue. Actually, I don't know what you'd really put in the Brown Blue slot if you don't have Behemoth, but you could easily put a Druid in last slot if you don't have the new Kingdom Dragon. Okay, so let's just throw down a Behemoth, go for the Crystallized, and keep poking down from there. Went with the Behemoth first, mainly because I didn't see anything with the Crystallized, and unless we're getting an extra turn, it wouldn't be as good to use. Though it doesn't look like we'll be able to get an extra turn here, but we could try for one. Hopefully get it off the top, though we're going to be frozen on it anyway, so never mind. That's a bit of a mistake. At least we get the skull damage. One thing to note is something I probably should have done is done that in reverse order. She does indeed cleanse herself. We can just do that right here. She'll cleanse herself right off, gain barrier, and there we go. She is extremely tanky, and she can get to probably the 200s, 300s. I see her get pretty high most of the time because she doesn't even take any damage from stuff like that. And full AoE and stuff like that is pretty popular right now. Things that hit all enemies. And she's a pretty good counter to that because she can just keep placing barrier on herself and just get tanky enough that she'll never die. One thing to note, though, is skull spam still tears her apart pretty well, especially if the Bone Dragon aims specifically at her. So do keep that in mind. Watch out for Bone Dragons when using her. Other than that, she's pretty tanky to just about anything because she gets a huge amount of HP, huge amount of armor. She has the traits to synergize with it if you happen to get them up, and it works pretty nice. And of course, you don't have that damage, but as long as you have other troops that deal the damage in place of it, you need to have at least 2 damage sources if you're going to be using her in a team. But as long as you have that, you'll be able to still utilize her. Because if you don't put the damage sources in your team, you're just it's gonna be an extremely slow battle because you won't be able to do anything. Let's go for the reds here. Actually, I think there's enough damage to kill it out. One thing about the Pistarnak's ability is it's actually a bit bugged right now. It keeps doing very weird boost ratios. They'll probably have that fixed. Actually, I have no clue when they'll have it fixed, but hopefully they'll have that fixed soon. Because it is actually slightly stronger than it should be right now. So let's go now into the other build. Not against that though. Or then again, yes, against this. So we can kind of see what it can do against a Entangle and stuff. Because this is about as hard counter as this team can possibly be. Is a Gorgoltha plus a Salvani Mora. Because everything we're doing is skulls. But hey, let's see if we can actually take it out. Full skull spam against complete anti-skull spam team. And he is, of course, using the triple dragon combo. The 3 of them are used quite a bit. Actually, just the Dragon Soul with the new dragon is used with just about anything. You can use that with pretty much any other dragon in the entire game, and it works pretty well. We've been streaming that quite a bit on our Let's Play account too, because our other account ended up getting that combo as well, luckily. Which reminds me, I still need to do an Inferno King for my other account. But anyways, we'll go and use our Mercy here. Hopefully we'll get all that mana. Still 1 short. Don't think we'll really be able to do anything here. I might even just go for the Shegra. I don't think it's going to go for a yellow. Unless we know we're going to get Inferno King alignment somewheres. Okay, we kind of are over here. Depends what the AI ends up doing. Okay, so it does. So we'll be able to get that pretty easy. And then we'll just be able to deck him out from there. And just keep skull spamming against the extreme tankiness that he is. Though he'll break eventually. Obviously, you would want to try avoiding a Gorgoltha in many instances. Though I think we have enough skulls and she's tanky enough that combination will be able to take it out. And now we can use her ability to take out the 1 last HP that he has. We could take the skull too, but we'll get some of our mana back if we use the ability itself. Plus, we'll be able to negate the skull. We'll be able to take this, he'll take that skull, and we'll barrier that entire damage. So he basically just wastes his entire turn going for the skull right there. So we'll take that, get more yellow, try getting Inferno King back up, try getting the Inferno King Shegra combo off, which... Ooh. Wait, do we have it? Oh, we do have it. We got it, and that should be matched. We didn't manage to get entangled once. I was expecting that to really be bad for us, but it wasn't. Okay, unfortunately, everything that just happened there ended up undoing the alignment, and it didn't appear to come back. I think I'm still going to do this. Hopefully we don't get entangled. If we do, she can just cleanse. So it shouldn't be too big a deal, even if it does. So nope, it doesn't get any form of entangle off, so that's really good. We'll just... Actually, we could go for a Shegra right here. And that should hopefully give us 2 kills. We'll get the 1. And nope, we don't have enough skull damage. She has pure tankiness, but not that high of a skull damage. She does gain more attack if you have her second trait whenever an ally dies. But if you're using her as a frontline tank, which pretty much every build will, you don't really get to utilize that at all, unfortunately. Which is another one of the reasons why you kind of don't need her traits. Because her traits are more towards the average side. It's mainly her ability that is making her extremely tanky. Of course, against skulls and stuff, the leadership and holy armor definitely are helping. But even just the ability with 3 less magic is still pretty devastating. And even with that leadership, it's first trait, so you can get it pretty easily. You don't even need to use any of the arcanes to get the first trait on her. But we'll just use an Inferno King. As long as we get alignment, that will be the match. No alignment, but I think I might just throw it down still. Because we'll be able to hopefully take a skull in the next turn. And we have our ability up. Not much you can really do with that at the moment, though. We'll just have to keep poking the mana. We'll definitely don't want to do that. Oh, wait, never mind. There's skulls just sitting there. So we'll go for that. It does have stone skin, and of course, with all of this skull reduction, it is taking a little bit longer than it normally would. Obviously, you would want to try to avoid things that have too much skull protection whenever you are looking for your few when you have a skull spam team. That, or you can just switch it out for a different team. But I wanted to see if it could actually do it, and it seems like it can. Unfortunately, it did just summon a Drake. We can easily take that out with a Shegra, and then hopefully get enough skulls to wrap it up. So we'll go for that. Nice brown right there. That's almost enough for our Shegra, just a little off. No place for a Mercy, though. Can't drop that down. And nothing we can do with this, unfortunately. So we'll just go... Actually, we kind of could. We can do this to poke at some skulls to make sure the next skull does indeed kill it, and then just go for a Shegra to clear out the board. And that's match right there. Okay. So those are the teams. As far as what you use her in, this week you'd probably use her in like any team, even if you just use triple combos and put her in the back, even if you're not using her as a tank. I know on my Let's Play account I haven't been bothering really using her as a tank, because I don't want to invest the souls. I just put it all the way in the back of my team and just let it sit there and let the rest of my team do it. Or if you wanted to, you can use it up front. Just use it as an extremely big, thick tank that barely anything can really get through. We end up keeping it both times, and it's actually very rare to see her die. The only thing I've ever really seen her die to is from Death Touch and, of course, Bone Dragon. Those are the only two things I've seen her die to so far. But anyways, that'll wrap it up for this video. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.